Longtime subscribers to this channel may have noticed a drastic shortage of Total War content. Heck, even newer subs are no doubt feeling the drought as well. As a channel founded on Total War and for the last 5 years has been almost exclusively about Total War, I know it's a worrying aspect for many people, and I have received quite a few questions lately about the lack of it. I have not left, nor plan on leaving Total War in the dust on this channel, so not to fret. However, there is a decent bit of emotion behind this, and when my emotions are at play, I stumble over my words, like I just did, or say things that I don't mean, even get too riled up to continue. So this video will be scripted, but I'll definitely let the emotion bleed through so I don't sound like my usual Spock self. In today's video, I want to give you a very honest and personal look into the answer to those questions, with the goal being that you, the community, understand where I'm coming from, and to know that it's not a forever situation. We'll start by taking a look at the Total War Creator Program, then the 3 big current releases, Warhammer II, Total War Saga Troy, and 3 Kingdoms, wrapping up with my plans for the future. Also, probably 90% of this video will be Total War trailers, since this is not tied specifically to any content that I can quote-unquote create, and I don't like static images, just want to keep you entertained. So don't judge me based on the video part of this video, I guess. Deep breath, let's dive in. The very first thing I want to say in regards to the Total War Content Creator Program is that I hold zero judgment, zero malice, and no anger towards anyone in the Total War Creator Program or any CA employees who help run it. This is not for fear of retaliation from Creative Assembly. I have very positive relations with several team members, and they know that I give my very honest opinions on and off the channel. It more lies in the frustration of it at the moment. In years past, the Creator Program was fairly limited. You had to have a decent number of subscribers or viewers on Twitch, in good standing without any issues across social media, and have your channel fairly dedicated or completely dedicated to Total War. In return, we got early access to new games, DLC, and a close community to chat in and talk business or simply life. In the last 2 years, the requirements haven't necessarily changed, which is a good thing. It has, however, vastly expanded with 2 tiers, partners and verified. Partners have a higher subscriber count, have experience in the program, or create very solid types of content that really push Total War into the community. Verified have a much lower subscriber viewer requirement, perfect for channels that have proven a form of dedication to Total War with a greater chance to eventually level up to the partner program. The kicker for myself, there are so many of us. I'm not going to mention numbers for either tier of the program. I honestly don't know if that can be public knowledge or not, but let's just say it is quite the handful, and more than I ever thought I'd see in a program, for sure. That creates the problem for myself. When it comes to new content, be it news, DLC, full releases, etc., if I cannot get to it by the partner's embargo due to my full-time job, or so I don't neglect my wife and kids, or just simply the pure exhaustion of life, I just don't bother covering it. By the time I can get to it, even a day or 2 later, every verified channel in the program and every partner channel in the program is releasing videos on it, and it just gets drowned out in the noise. Now, I realize this completely comes off as me whining about smaller channels. Again, I honestly assure you it does not. I'd be right there with them if I was a verified channel trying to get my name out, and their dedication to cranking out videos amongst so many others is honestly very commendable. But knowing that so many people across the entire program in both tiers are covering the exact same piece of content as myself makes it daunting to even start, daunting to find a way to stand out above the rest, and daunting to get out quick enough. There's an average of 4 to 10 hours of work for every one of my videos, depending on what's entailed to get it done. 90% of the time of late, it's simply not worth the return on investment to do it when your average Italian Spartacus just spits out info on the fly in 20 minutes. By the way, Ryan and I are very close friends. He understands and will most likely laugh at this jab. At least, I hope he does. That's the heaviest hand currently. If I can't get it out when it's my time, there's little use in doing it at all. It seems like a cop-out, but it's the simple truth with everything that I juggle with in my day-to-day life. Warhammer 2. This one's pretty simple, although there are multiple reasons why I don't make content for this one, and when I do, it's very specific. First and foremost, I'm simply bored of the game as a whole. It's not the age of the game, I don't believe. After all, I still religiously play Total War Attila, and it's going on 6 years old here in a few weeks. I think it's a combination of a constant drip feed of DLC and an extreme simplicity and at times a wide imbalance of its campaign that just wears me out and quickly makes me uninterested. With regards to the DLC, I know the community loves getting new content so often, and we have indeed received a lot, with 8 paid DLC releases in just 3.5 years, with, I believe, a free DLC release going right along every single one of them. Its contents, however, at least for me, only provide at most a couple of new campaigns, of which I never finish. New lords are great, new units are great, and who can deny that new faction mechanics are also something to rejoice about? But ultimately, I reach a point less than 100 turns in for any of my campaigns where I feel very meh about it all, and I just walk away. And that leads to the campaigns themselves. Look, I get that Warhammer 2 is about the battles. That point has always been pretty clear from the get-go. And it's the fantasy-style battles of elves and dinos and rodents of unusual sizes all fighting each other that has an immense appeal to a larger audience than Creative Assembly has had in the past. But I've never really viewed Total War's campaigns as a simple means to just fuel my army war machine, yet that's how Warhammer feels. Its campaign mechanics are simple, with little to no depth about them and vanilla. Every campaign can pretty much be played the same way, and the simplified economy makes losing an army hardly felt, as you could simply raise a near full stack in a small handful of turns. There's just no strategy to the campaign side at all. And that makes content creation difficult for me. For my style of videos, I have to dig fully into the campaign to understand that specific lord's benefits or that faction's specific advantages, which means slogging through another campaign that I might physically play 2 to 5 battles of with the rest auto-resolving. It's just not an enjoyable time. That being said, 2 of my top 10 videos on the channel are Warhammer 2 videos, so what gives? The first, 10 Things I Wish I Knew, was an unpaid guinea pig experiment between Creative Assembly and myself to see what an extremely targeted video would do with developer promotion across social media and a game promotion on top of that. It works extremely well from a marketing standpoint, and I'm very proud of it, and every time Warhammer 2 goes on sale or something to that effect happens with Warhammer 2, I get a nice boost in views from it. But I also didn't do it alone. I coordinated with several Warhammer-focused channels to get the best top things for that video, which I enjoyed conversing with those guys, several of which I consider to be close friends now. The second was the SFO Grimhammer 2 mod overhaul overview video, in which the modder personally reached out to me to cover it thanks to my heavily edited style. This was another coordinated approach, as he had features he specifically wanted me to test and to cover, and the version of the mod I received allowed for quick access to the more mid to late game features without having to slog through multiple 100-turn campaigns to get to that point. So in both cases, a cooperation was had, in which the people I worked with were very passionate about the game I created a video on, and that in turn fueled my desire to want to cover it. Both were very successful, but in retrospect, I needed a bit of external hype to get the ball rolling in my court, as it were. That doesn't happen very often, especially not lately, because, in the case of Warhammer 2 specifically, I know several other content creators are just as bored with the game or have other issues as myself. The next major release is Total War Saga Troy. I haven't touched this game since it was released, I'll be 100% honest. I want to get into this game again, as it has several new and quite frankly awesome mechanics in it. 3 Kingdom style diplomacy, the new resource system, and some of the best battle maps in the franchise. I enjoyed the highly detailed map, and island hopping across the Aegean was pretty fun. Troy suffers almost the exact opposite of Warhammer 2. Its campaign is fantastic and in-depth, with a few exceptions, but the battles are both boring and broken. I don't necessarily have a problem with the single entity units in Total War. I think it's a great way to focus on important characters. But they either need to just belong in pure fantasy games, i.e. Warhammer, or they need to be nerfed so badly to make them compatible with non-fantasy. Every battle I played on release, it came down to heroes fighting, or the hero taking on 5 units and still winning. It's a snooze fest, and it takes all of the strategy out of the game. I flat out just do not want to play battles in this game because of it, and therefore do not want to open the game to play it at all. I'm still on the belief that Troy should have gone 100% historical or 100% fantasy. The interpretation, while unique in its approach, tried to appease the Warhammer and history franchise, but ended up alienating both, as it's not enough fantasy for the fantasy people and not nearly enough historical for the history people. Now, I will say this. I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility to salvage Troy by going full fantasy. Just act like the whole truth behind the myth never happened and slap a whole bunch of Mythos units in there. Hell, 90% or more of those assets are already in Warhammer. And since Troy is based more off the Warhammer version of the engine, I truly don't think it'd be insanely labor intensive. But you slap the full mytho into the game and make Troy all about human units fighting mythological units, not unlike Age of Mythology, boom, I'm in, man. I'd love to see it at this point over historical simply because of the appeal of the Iliad and the Odyssey bringing those creatures in. I think you would appeal to both sides as well. I don't doubt that a majority of the historical Total War fans played Age of Mythology. I played a ton of it way back in the day. The draw of something similar with the scale of Total War battles is a bit too much for me to deny, and I'm pretty sure it'd draw lots of others too. So bring in a mythology update, be it a DLC or just a complete rework of the game, and you'll see some more Troy content come back onto this channel. Total War 3 Kingdoms is the shortest one in here, and it's really more of an unfortunate timing thing than anything else. I was pretty dang pumped for the non-man DLC. I played it a bit off the channel and even dedicated a stream or two to the DLC before release. It was pretty fun with loads of new units that were unique and engaging, calling for different strategies altogether from what we've seen in the past with just Han factions. However, there was this third installation of a very well-known and hyped up game of which I had already been in deep before it was even released, and it devoured my time completely. Crusader Kings 3 released, I think on the same day, possibly within days of the non-man DLC release, and it took over my channel, leaving me to forget about the non-man almost completely. That also leads back to my first subject. For channels such as mine, which focus on reviews or news or even just guides, if I don't hop on it right at release or very shortly thereafter, then the traction is just gone with the YouTube algorithm. Once the floodgates open, content-wise, it becomes crazy hard to get videos up and running that get seen simply due to the volume that's already out there. So with the non-man DLC, it was 2 or 3 months later when I finally got to it, and creating a review on it just wasn't feasible or time responsible for the channel. Not to mention, I was in a crazy deep scripting rut. Thank God I'm out of that now. Now that you hopefully understand a bit where I'm coming from, I mentioned at the beginning that I have no plans to leave Total War forever. So let's look to the future and my hopeful plans. Total War Warhammer 3. While we still have no idea when an announcement trailer will drop or when the game will ultimately release, I'm still hopeful for a Q1 to Q2 announcement with a Q4 release. With that, I fully plan on going decently ham with coverage. It's a fresh game in the world with new factions, a new map, and hopefully lots of new mechanics that create a more in-depth and meaningful campaign. It would honestly be irresponsible of me to not cover the game. Now, as to how I'll cover it, you can expect some deep dives into guides and reviews as usual, but maybe, just maybe, some more cinematic battles like the Grimmingham Pass. We'll have to see. I am pretty excited for this one, so look forward to content on it. Total War Saga Troy. As mentioned just a bit ago, at this point, the only way I'm getting back into Troy is with a full Mythos rework. We know that CA clearly isn't done supporting the game, so I don't truly think something like this is out of the question. Total War 3 Kingdoms. It's been a good while since the Non-Man DLC. I think our only hint as to the next one lies in the fact that they have expanded Korea with the last map update, so I fully expect the next DLC to encompass them, although the Proto-Hun people, the Qianu, still need brought into the game, and I'm very eager to know when they'll appear. I do still want to cover 3 Kingdoms, so there will be content coming out when it's proper. Total War mods. A big part of my early growth on the channel was a focus on mods. 4 of my top 10 videos focus on them. I will admit that I threw that to the wayside for quite a long while, and for that I apologize. But several of you will also be glad to hear that they are coming back. I already have a number of mods I plan to cover across Attila, Thrones, and 3 Kingdoms. But if you have a mod set that you are pumped about, be sure to put them in the comment section so I can check them out and just maybe I'll cover them. Twitch streams and the Havoc streams. Lastly, I sort of lied when I said I haven't made Total War videos. I have, in fact, been streaming a Western Roman Empire campaign on Twitch the last few months. While the VODs are still up there on Twitch, I'm working on splitting the videos up for YouTube, which will go on my new channel, Havoc Streams. I quickly changed the name and rebranded to help it stand out, as there were loads of Havoc Plays channels already out there. This channel is pretty much the only place outside of Twitch where you'll see live gameplay from me, so I very highly recommend you head over to that channel and sub using the link in the description. To anyone still watching, I really do hope that helps you understand my current situation. It's not that I'm abandoning Total War, it's that at this current time, there's simply not a lot of reason to cover it with the type of content that I create. Take a look at several other channels that a year ago had multiple Total War campaigns running at all times, and you'll see the drought there too. I think Total War's future is bright, but it's a bit dim at the moment, and hopefully 2021 will do us all some good with some fresh content. Thank you all for letting me ramble on like this. It's a bit refreshing to get it off my chest. If you enjoyed the video, help the YouTube algorithm see it, not just by liking it, but leaving a comment with something like, I don't know, man, Havoc creates good videos on games like Total War and Crusader Kings 3. I can't wait to see what RTS, city building, and 4X strategy games he covers in 2021. It'd be greatly appreciated and quite humorous. Thank you for watching, everyone. This is Havoc, and I will see you all in the next video.